Alright, hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to talk about my top 10 favorite games that I played in 2025, and I really do think you're going to find something to add to your backlog after watching my top 10, because I guarantee you have not played, let alone heard of, all the games that I'm going to have in this list. So what do you say we get started with number 10? And this is a game that I did not expect to put in a list like this earlier in the year when I was first checking out gameplay and deciding if I wanted to buy it. And that is a game that really stuck with me for quite a while after playing it, and that is Sledders. This is a game that left early access and is now on consoles in version 1.0, so the full game, and it's essentially an open world sandbox snowmobile simulator where the objective is to just make your own fun. And what do I mean by this? It's actually a game that has no objective. There's no story, there's no missions. It's just a huge open world for you to drive around in and just try to get used to riding a snowmobile. And I know that sounds crazy, and I'm as surprised as you guys are that this actually made my top 10, but it really stuck with me. I didn't play it a ton, right? But I played enough to know that this game has something really special in it, where I said to myself, okay, how about I just drive around the entire map without trying to fall? And I spent, like an hour or two trying to go around the map for as long as I possibly could, doing laps, trying not to fall off the mountain, trying not to slide down and fall off. Really hard to pull that off. This game is hardcore. You're going to fall a lot, but you're going to have a lot of fun doing it. The controls, once they click, are just magical. I had a ton of fun coming to grips with the absolutely brutal handling of this game, but it's a snowmobile simulator for a reason. And there's a reason it's highly critically acclaimed, because believe me, this game will grab you in ways that you never thought it could. It looks beautiful, it controls beautifully, and it's just such a simple, wholesome simulator game that I just had to recommend it to you guys. Check it out. I played it on PS5 personally, but you could also play it on other consoles and on Steam. Coming in at number 9 is Sword of the Sea. Now, I like to classify these kind of games as artsy-fartsy games, and Sword of the Sea is no exception because, well, it has the art director from Journey, and he said he wanted to set out making Sword of the Sea because he had a lot of ideas that he wasn't able to implement into Journey, and they used them in Sword of the Sea. And it really, really is a very close representation of what Journey was like. There's a lot of sledding around, or rather snowboarding around on sand, or sandboarding, whatever you want to call it. Visually, it's very, very similar to Journey, but is that necessarily a bad thing? If you're going to make a game like this, you might as well copy or be inspired by, or maybe, use the same art director as Journey, right? So it looks great. The story or anything didn't click for me, but it had amazing music, and the set pieces in this game were absolutely beautiful. It was just a lot of fun to glide around on the sand and do some hovering and platforming. This game has a very big emphasis on the platforming aspect of things and collecting things. It's less so about the linearity of just going from point A to point B like Journey kind of was a lot of times. There's no online aspect. It is strictly a solo endeavor here, but I really enjoyed it. It was just a very surreal looking, relaxing game that you can beat in just a few hours, and I really enjoy a good, short, beautiful looking adventure game every once in a while. Coming in at number 8 is a new entry from one of my favorite series, and that is Lumines Arise. Lumines on the PSP is one of my favorite games of all time. It's easily my favorite puzzle game of all time. So seeing a brand new one come out is always a pleasure. They don't release new Lumines games too often anymore these days, and this one was an audio-visual treat. I did not play it in VR, but if you play this in VR, and I'm sure if I played it in VR, this would have been bumped up on the list quite a few spots, I'm sure. But as an overall puzzle game, it does what it sets out to do. It incorporates some really awesome new gimmicks, the burst mechanic. I'm not going to really get into it. Let's just say that this version of Lumines has a really cool new mechanic that kind of keeps you in the game and playing longer and doing bigger combos. Visuals, very overwhelming. Sometimes it kind of plays to its detriment. Sometimes it's a little hard to see what you're doing because the visuals are so detailed and complex. The music was 50-50 for me. There were a lot of songs where I was like, ooh, does this belong in here? And then a lot of songs where I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. This is Lumines right here. But all the songs in the game are original. There's no licensed music or anything like that from Lumines 2. Overall, a really solid experience that I played maybe 10 hours of, and I definitely got my fill. It's not something that I'll play all the time, but I played all the modes, I played online, I played the mission mode, I played through the story. It was overall a really solid game, and I definitely recommend it if you're new to the series. but I would still recommend the First Luminous a bit more than this one. Coming in at number 7 is one that I played recently, and I'm really glad that I did because, hey, it made my top 10, and that is a game called Keeper. This is, once again, another beautiful artsy game, and this one is from Double Fine. It's a really, really simple game. It is a walking simulator. You play as a lighthouse that just randomly decides to uproot himself and grow some legs and find a seagull bird friend and try to make their way through this really fantastical, surreal fantasy land with some of the best visuals of the year. This game should definitely win some awards when it comes to visuals. It's absolutely stunning looking. They go for a stop motion animation kind of look, even though it isn't actually stop motion animation. The game did eventually start to wear a little thin in the gameplay because it is a very simple walking simulator, but I won't spoil anything, but there's some twists and turns along the way that really take you by surprise, and ultimately, even if some of those twists and turns are not some of the highlights of the game, there were definitely some lows and some really high highs. The unexpected nature of where this game goes is what really ultimately made me decide to put it in this list, because it's really awesome to go into this game blind and not know what to expect, and I think it'll take a lot of you off guard. If anything, it is available on Game Pass. I did choose to buy it because I like to own my games these days, and I will safely say that this is a game that I will definitely see myself revisiting in the future, because it's just the kind of game where I'm definitely going to want to experience the world of Keeper once again. There's no dialogue, the story is very interpretive, it's hard to kind of make out, so if you're into this kind of games, be sure to check it out. Alright, make sure you're sitting down before I announce number 6. I may be the only person that has this game in their top 10, but you know what? I'm going to do it anyway. I'm not afraid, and I really stand by this, because man, did this game brighten my day, or days. It took me 3 days to get through this game, and it brought a smile to my face. It made me laugh, and it was one of the most fun games that I played this year, warts and all. Some of you may know what's coming, and that is Mind's Eye. Yes, one of the most critically panned, many people calling this one of the worst games of all time, but if you know me well enough, it may not be a surprise I would put this game in the top 10, because I love bad games. I also love bad games that don't mean to be bad on purpose and are just visually broken messes, and man, did Mind's Eye deliver for me. You have to remember, this game came out shortly after I had a major health scare this year, and I was just happy to be home playing games again and getting my hands on Mind's Eye and just having an absolute blast of a time streaming this game, laughing with everybody, laughing at all the glitches, laughing at all the problems the game had. I purposely played this game unpatched from the disc on version 1.0 so that I can experience it the way that everybody else first did when it first came out. And I'm really glad I did, because man, did I laugh a lot during the playthrough of this game. Was it frustrating? Were there some really aggravating moments? Absolutely. But just seeing all the bugs, seeing all the glitches, and I have some of my gameplay up of this on my gameplay, my second channel, so I'll actually have a link to that second channel and the Mind's Eye VOD that you can check out if you want to see me playing through this game. I stand by it. You know, is the game a 10 out of 10? No. Is it a 7 out of 10? No. It's like a 5 out of 10, 4 out of 10 kind of game, but at the end of the day, I had a lot of fun, and it was one of the most memorable experiences of the year for me. So, Mind's Eye, I do not recommend you play it, but I recommend you watch me play it. Number 5 is Kirby Air Riders, a game that I went into with no expectations, because I actually never played Kirby Air Rider on the GameCube, so I went into this as my first experience with the series, and I really, really, really liked it. It blew me away, the cinematic nature of this game. It was a spectacle. And after playing Mario Kart World, which, spoilers, is not on my top 10, after playing Mario Kart World and being kind of disappointed with that, playing Kirby was a breath of fresh air. I really loved the sweeping panoramic nature of these courses, where the camera's just swinging all around. It looks like you're watching a cutscene from a Sonic the Hedgehog game. It just looked so amazing. The music was just above and beyond what I expected. The music was fantastic in this game. The courses were designed with such meticulous nature to make them feel like you're on a theme park ride, a roller coaster. And every track just brought different energy, a different vibe, whether that's through the visuals or through the track design itself. And a lot of people panned Kirby for being a game that you play with like one button. This is a highly skill-intensive game. This is not a game that you just pick up and hand to your little sibling and have them play easily. This is a really hardcore racing combat game. And I really appreciated that about it. And what I also really liked is the variety of modes. I played every mode. And actually the mode that most people like, City Trial, was one of my least favorite modes. I appreciated the chaotic nature of it, but I actually found myself gravitating towards the other modes in the game. The top-down racing mode I had a blast with that for hours. I really enjoyed just the normal racing mode where you're just doing like the 8-player races through the normal tracks. Unfortunately, the queuing and the wait times to queue into races was definitely one of the downsides, but just going through all the tracks for the first time, playing the single player, doing that mode with like the roguelike elements where you're like choosing the path that you want to go down, really awesome. I was way more surprised by Kirby than I expected to be, and yeah, definitely took me by surprise and deserves to be where I have it on my list. Coming in at number 4 is something else that my expectations were kind of like, oh, I'm not sure what I'm gonna, hopefully it's good, and that's Eartheon. This is a new shoot 'em up with a soundtrack by Yuzo Koshiro, which absolutely elevated this game to like nearly the 10 out of 10 status that I would give this game. The music is fantastic. Shoutouts to Yuzo Koshiro for making an absolutely banger soundtrack. Yuzo Koshiro, of course, you might know him from Streets of Rage, the Etrian Odyssey series, which is my personal favorite music that he's ever done. And it just, to me, a lot of people that know me, you know, the first thing I judge a shoot 'em up on is actually the music. I don't judge it on the gameplay, I don't judge it on the graphics most of the time. The first thing I listen to when I see a trailer or gameplay of a shoot 'em up is how good is the music? Is it heart thumping, energy pulsing, like where I want to hear the music. Does it get your heart rate going, right? And this game absolutely does. And it also just so happens to have amazing visuals. This game can run on a Sega Genesis, so it kind of gives you an idea of what they were going for. And the gameplay is simple. It's just the right amount of difficulty. None of the bosses are like too easy or too hard. None of the levels are too easy or too hard. And it's got some great different modes with like time attacks and everything and score attacks. It's just the perfect shoot 'em up, and it really took me by surprise this year, and it definitely deserves to be up there as number 4 on my list. Before we get into my top 3 here, I just want to say thank you to those of you that have been watching all my videos this year. It's been an absolute joy to read all of your comments and everything, and yeah, here's to a even better year next year. So thank you everybody once again. And if you're new here and you enjoy my kind of taste in games, be sure to subscribe to the channel. It's really appreciated. I would love to maybe next year make it to 120,000 subscribers. That would be awesome. And don't forget to like the video as well if you guys are enjoying the content. Without further ado, here's number 3, another fairly contentious game, but I'm not afraid, because if I love a game, I'm gonna let you know. And that game is Let It Die Inferno. Now, a lot of you may not be aware that this is a sequel, somewhat, kind of. I gotta keep this brief. There's a lot I can say about Let It Die. To one of my most played games of all time, and that is Let It Die. Let It Die was a dungeon crawler roguelike where you were literally just crawling through dungeons, a huge tower. It had gacha elements, but like at the end of the day, it was not a pay-to-win game whatsoever. Like, I can go on about Let It Die so much, but Let It Die was a game that released on PS4. I put in about 600 hours into that game. It's one of my most played games of all time. And this was my most anticipated game of the year, Let It Die Inferno. Did it disappoint? In ways, yes and no. Because this is not Let It Die. This is just a fun 360 PS3 era feeling action melee game that happens to be a trend-chasing extraction game. Yeah. I was as disappointed as many as you were that are Let It Die fans, but at the end of the day, if I view this game not as a Let It Die game, but rather as just a fun 2-generation late melee game that happens to be an extraction game where you're trying to, like, you know, make it to the end of the level, keep going as far as you can, try not to die so you don't lose all your items. You know how if you play Arc Raiders, you know how this works. Tarkov, all those games. It's fun. I actually really enjoy it. It's got a lot of style. It has a ton of problems. There's a reason this game isn't number 1 on my list. If it was everything I wanted it to be, it would be absolutely number 1. But I put in, as of making this top 10, about 80 hours into this game, and I think that's enough for me to know that I really enjoyed it. It's lacking a lot of content. It's got some problems when it comes to the player base and like the way they price the game, but I'm not here to get into all that. I'm just here to let you know that if you like heavy, weighty, non-Souls-like combat, the kind of combat that you would have found on the Xbox 360 and PS3. And if the visuals and the style of this game kind of appeals to you, try it out. Play it before it's too late, because sadly, I'm not sure how long this game's going to be around for. The player numbers are terrible, but don't let that dissuade you. This company is known for having terrible marketing skills. They pretty much just try and rely on word of mouth, and nobody ever kind of gets the word out there. That's what happened with Deathverse. Let It Die kind of maintained itself because it was a free-to-play game. This game is paid. Anyway, I'm just here to let you guys know, don't believe everything that you hear about Let It Die Inferno. A lot of it is incredibly negative, but those of us that really enjoy the game, we really support it, and we hope the developer can pull through and make the changes necessary so that this game can stick around for the foreseeable future. Check out some of my past streams for Let It Die in my VOD channel. Once again, I've streamed this game a ton, and judge for yourself. Coming in at number 2 is once again a game that I'm so glad I took the chance to play towards the end of the year, because man, this game blew me away. Absolutely blew me away. It is a 10 out of 10 game, no questions asked. I can't think of any problems with this game whatsoever. And this is a game that you all have to play. You have to play this game. I'm like at a loss for words, how much I love this game. And that game is Sectori. This is an indie twin stick shooter from 2 developers that I actually believe they might be brothers. I could be wrong, but it's just 2 guys that were like ex-House Marquee developers. So like the developer was an ex-House Marquee developer, and then the person that did the music, I believe, is the guy's brother. So I guess I misspoke there a little bit. But Sectori, an amazing, stylistic, when I first started playing this game, I could just feel my heart rate increasing. I'm like, this game's gonna send me back to the hospital. Like, this game is, it got my blood pumping so much, because the music was just like pumping, pounding through these intense bullet dodging, bullet hell sections. You're essentially like it's one of those games where like once you die, you lose all your lives, you go all the way back to the beginning, but you can kind of like build a deck out through making selections, like the Vampire Survivors kind of thing that's very popular these days, where you choose abilities as you're going to like power up your ship essentially. And there's boss battles that are super standout. They look phenomenal. They are really, really difficult. And it reminded me of think of Geometry Wars with like a modern blend of how the genre has kind of evolved today. And genres like Vampire Survivors, where you're just trying to survive different waves, randomized waves. You can never predict really what's going to come next, because the game, kind of uses a randomization when it comes to sending enemies and power-ups to you. It's got a dashing mechanic that once these things, like the puzzles start to click together, once this game really clicks for you and you learn that you got to like dash into the power-ups, and then like it refreshes your dash, you're like dashing all over the place, and how to make certain builds with the car, like the power-ups that you're taking. Do you want more missiles, or do you want more speed, or do you want more like drone ships that fly around you and guard you from enemies? It's a fantastic game. I got so close to beating it. I think there's 5 or 6 stages. Tons of different modes, so you never get bored. If you're getting bored with the main mode, guess what? There's a bunch of other modes, and they have online leaderboards. I love online leaderboards. It keeps that competition going in me. I haven't gotten into a twin stick shooter that heavily since like the 360, and somewhat like maybe the PS4 Resogun was, there was some good twin stick shooters, but nothing's really grabbed me in that genre since this game. My highest recommendation, I know it sounds like this game should have been my game of the year, but there is something else that was a defining game for me this year, and we're going to get to that right now. So first, I got to give a bit of a disclaimer. Some of you might be like, this doesn't really qualify for your game of the year, like for 2025, and you wouldn't be wrong. But I don't care, because this game meant so much to me this year. It felt wrong to not put it here, because this was a transformative experience for me. And this is a game that originally released last year on the Switch towards the end of the year in October. It received a PS5 version earlier in the year. I played the PS5 version. And the way I look at it is, hey, if the Game Awards allows games from like November of last year to make their top, their nominations for the next year, why can't I kind of like, let's bend some rules here for myself as well. So my number one game that I played for 2025 is a game that I don't think any of you are going to see coming unless you were watching my streams. That is RPG Maker with. Yeah, an RPG Maker game. RPG Maker with is a console exclusive RPG Maker game. You can't play this on PC. So that means you got to go old school to play this game. You remember playing RPG Maker on PS1? The game that you fidgeted around with for a couple hours thinking you were making an RPG, when in reality all you did was just make a couple of cool like empty maps and like 2% of your game because you made a town with an inn and then enemies that you can never balance rate. Well, guess what? That genre of RPG Maker is alive and well because for some reason they decided to release a console exclusive RPG Maker with all the bells and whistles of the PC versions of RPG Maker when it comes to the programming and development side of things on console. I spent nearly 300 hours working on an RPG. Yes, I played a couple of other people's games, like dabbled in them, and I felt super inspired earlier this year to make my own game. So I set out to do that. And this was such a meditative experience for me. I've always wanted to. Who doesn't want to make their own game, right? Who doesn't want to make their own game? So to finally sit down and have a tool that is like real game development. If you've played RPG Maker, you know how involved these games can be. You are essentially learning a new coding language to make games that are involved with all the different things that you got to do. I'm not going to sit here and explain everything here, but essentially if you play RPG Maker and you're serious about it, you're legit straight up developing a game. And I had to learn a ton of different things, the proprietary sort of like coding language of this game to make what I wanted to make, and I was very ambitious with it, and I just loved, it was like painting a canvas. I could sit there and easily spend 10, 20, 30 hours on one map, handcrafting it with waterfalls and paths and a little hidden cave here, and where do I want this chest to be, and rewarding my players with, do you find the hidden room that's behind the waterfall, or do you like, I wish I could put this into words better. RPG Maker with was by far, this is one of the most fun experiences I've had with the game ever. Unfortunately, like I mentioned earlier, this was a very rough year for me, and I was playing this game like crazy. I was so into it. There were days where I would not even stream just so I can make my RPG for like 10 hours straight, and I loved every second of it. It was just like, if you just needed to clear your headspace and sit down and have fun creatively, this was it. After everything that happened in the middle of the year, and I came back and I was ready to play games again, I couldn't get back into it. I tried a few times. It's so daunting. It's so intimidating because I remember all the things I was doing in this game with cutscenes and how, like complex bosses and the coding language to get the bosses to do certain moves and overcoming those challenges. There were so many challenges. Like, I can't tell you how many times I had to try and research how to just like make an ability work in a boss fight, or how to like have the character push a rock and have the rock disappear afterwards. Like, why is the rock still there? Why is the rock still covering the hole? Why did the rock come back after I went to the cave and came back out? Like, the simplest little things, like how do you code a bird to like fly across the screen and not get stuck or not slide in the wrong way, and how to, but you overcome these challenges and it feels so good. Spending 10 hours trying to work out a cutscene and it finally clicks for you is just so amazing. And I'm sure the number one question you guys all have is, can you play my game? You will eventually be able to play it. I'm sure I'll have a video done and everything. I would estimate that my game right now is probably in the realm of 40% complete. There's a lot of work I still got to do. There's so much more work I got to do in terms of like the story and stringing everything together, but I have so much time done already in map making and developing my characters and balancing the game. I could just go on talking about RPG Maker nonstop, and I don't mean to gush. I've been going on way too long about this game right now, but I think you guys are starting to realize why this game is my number one game that I played this year. And if I had to bend a little bit of rules that would typically be in place for a top 10, technically the game came out late last year on the Switch, but you know what? I don't care. PS5 version came out this year. I played it for nearly 300 freaking hours, and it was one of the best experiences I ever had playing a game in my life. So hopefully when you guys eventually get to play my RPG, you enjoy it and you'll appreciate all the work that I put into it. I don't know when that'll be done, hopefully by the end of next year. But anyway, Oh, and you can also play my game for free because they have the RPG Maker with tool where you just like download the game on Switch or PlayStation, and like you don't even have to pay. You could just download the player and play everybody's RPGs for free. You don't even have to pay any money. You can play everybody's RPGs, so that's what's going to happen with mine. It's just a passion project. It doesn't cost money. Like, you can't charge for these games on console. Steam's a different story. I'm doing all this just for the love of it, for the love of RPGs, for the love of making my own game, and just... I love RPG Maker with. I'm a fan. Anyway, you guys, thanks so much for watching. I know there's a few games that are obvious omissions that you're probably like, whoa, how did Pete not talk about? How did he not play this or not play that? It's not so much that I didn't play, it's just that some games I didn't give as much attention as I thought they deserved in order to make a top 10. Some games I like just played and put down and didn't come back to in time, and you know, it is what it is. Ultimately, I hope this list was helpful to you in some way, and maybe you found out some new games.